Hello, everyone. My name is Gina Strole. I'm an intuitive healer, psychic medium, and spiritual coach. And today I want to talk about a topic that I deal with a lot in my work, and something that I have also struggled with pretty much my whole lifetime, and that's anxiety. It's funny. I just ran down to the store and I ran into an old friend who was telling me about her daughter that's, really just struggles really bad with anxiety and having, panic attacks. And it's very extreme and it's very hard for her to deal with. And so I wanted to chat with you about that today because I myself have, and still from time to time, deal with anxiety and deal with that feeling that gathers in your chest that you just can't even hardly breathe sometimes. And I want to share with you what I have learned over the years and how I work with others who have anxiety, who have issues, and how we try and work through those. First off, anxiety is not in your head. Anxiety is not something that you were born with either, not in my experience. Anxiety is learned. Anxiety is that worry about the future. Now, just because it's learned, it's a way that your body, your responses, how you have decided, or I shouldn't say decided, I don't want to downplay it, but it's been a way for you to cope. And I know for me, for a lot of years, I struggled so bad with depression and anxiety. And it wasn't until I started doing my healing work, started learning some different methods and some different ways of dealing with this anxiety that can be so overwhelming at times and so debilitating is the word. I know, I've worked with people who have so much anxiety, they can't leave their house, they can't deal with life. And I've worked with other people who just deal with it on and off basis. So I want to talk about that anxiety today and give you some tips on how you can work through that. Because the thing that I know is you can learn a different way of reacting. And I know for me, when I realized what was going on, I thought it was just the way that I was. I thought that I just, my heart would start beating out of my chest. I would wake up and I would just be so full of anxiety that I'm really not accomplishing anything. It really like puts you in this tailspin, this panic tailspin, and you don't know what's coming or going. And I have felt that so many times in my life. And at first I couldn't pinpoint it. I just thought that it was the way I was and that's just how I rolled. And then I realized as I started doing my healing work and I really started unwinding that, this anxiety would come in from me when I was really overthinking everything. And I was worried about the future and worrying how things were going to work out and worrying if it would work out and worrying what was going to happen and, how it was going to happen and really trying to control my whole environment. And I was losing my sense of peace by this one thing of anxiety. Now, as I talk about this, I do not want to downplay it because, like I said before, it can be very, very difficult. It can be very debilitating for a lot of people. But I just want to share with you some of the steps. One, there is hope. There is totally hope. And it is something that can be worked through. A lot of times our past, in fact, most of the time, our past, our traumas, the things that we have been through, our reactions, the way that we have learned to react, this is a behavior. This is an effect, so to speak, of where we've been and what we've done and how we have learned to deal with it. Our bodies also get into this habit of going to the state of chaos. And we can learn to unwind that. How do you do that? Well, for me, it is meditation. It's learning to calm down. It's learning to see the signs for myself when I can feel it coming on. And I can feel those feelings coming in. I start feeling it in my chest and my throat area. And my stomach gets kind of all weirded out. And my mind starts racing and going crazy. And it's really stopping it right there and reminding myself that I am safe, that I am secure, that everything's going to be okay, that it has worked out many times before for me, and I don't need to worry about how I'm going to control this, that I need to just find my peace. And sometimes we have to do this 900,000 times a day. Really stopping and breathing is like how those first signs, really stopping, taking a big deep breath instead of allowing it to spiral out of control. It's not that we're not going to have anxiety in our lives, but we can learn to deal with it in a different way. I know for me, when I started doing my healing work, when I really started unwinding my childhood stuff, you hear about inner child healing. This was big for me, and really learning to not go to that place of where I'm terrified and scared, not go to that little girl place, because really when we start doing inner child healing, that's where we go. The little child inside of us is curled up in a corner somewhere. A lot of times when I would do this work early on, and still I do sometimes today, I would see her in a dark cave, curled up in the corner, terrified. And she didn't know what to do. She didn't know where to go. And I talk about her like third person, but that's the way I'm feeling inside. I'm crawling in a hole, not sure what to do with what I've been dealt with, and not sure how to manage it. But as I did my inner child healing, coaxed her out of the cave, coaxed her out into the sunlight, and helped her to see that we're okay and that we're going to be fine, and to give her that support, to give her that love, to give her that connection that she had been longing for all those years. With inner child healing, it's not about that we all had shitty parents, and it's just not about that. They did the very best that they knew how. It's us learning to deal with things and see things in a different way, because when we can bring in that safety and security, a lot of times when I work with people with inner child healing, I will ask them, what does she need to feel safe? Sometimes it's her blanket. I won't lie, and we give her an energetic blanket. What else does she need? Because we don't have to relive everything that we went through. We just need to bring back in this safety and this security and those feelings of you're going to be okay. And as we do that over and over and over again, and we keep doing it and keep bringing in these places of peace, bringing in more love, bringing in more compassion for you, bringing in more understanding for you. Because a lot of times when we're in that anxiety, we are not understanding ourselves. We are freaking out over everything that could possibly go wrong, waiting for that next thing to go wrong, freaking out over what it's going to be or what it's going to look like and how it's going to feel. And are we going to be able to handle it again? Blah, 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 all the things that are going on, which is causing our body just so much stress. And we don't have to stay there. There are ways to work through it. There are ways to learn to bring that sense of anxiety down, and bring us back to a place of peace. And like I said, sometimes we need to do that multiple times a day, but definitely finding some form of meditation, something that you can do to really just, even if it's for 30 seconds, breathing exercises are fabulous for this. Really taking 30 seconds, taking 10 big deep breaths, and just seeing if that doesn't help you feel differently. It may only last for a short period of time, but you got 5 minutes, 3 minutes of peace in that body. And we reteach it how to come back to this place of peace, because we cannot control everything that goes around us. It's just not the way, it's not the way things work. There's so many things that you can control, and one of those is bringing that peace back inside yourself. Now, I always tell people, if you feel like you need medical care for this, please go get it. But there are other things that you can do on the side with your healthcare professionals so that you can find peace every day, and really start finding more of that peace, more of that joy. This anxiety really robs us of the joy that we can have in life. And so if we can find more times to bring that back in. The other thing that Spirit just showed me right now as we do that is I find a lot of my peace out in nature, going for a walk, connecting with the outside, connecting with the ground, grounding yourself back down. A lot of times in the energetic world, when we are full of anxiety, we are not grounded, and you are flighty and you're all over the place. You're not making good decisions. So if we can take 2 minutes, 5 minutes, go for a walk, change your routine, change it up, and allow yourself to see something different. We really have to start making an effort to really stop it earlier and bring ourselves back to this place of peace, bring in this sense of security for ourselves so that we can feel safe in our own world. So, these are just some things that I have learned. I am not standing here on a pedestal telling you how to do it because I've never been through it. Literally, I spent a good part of my young adult years taking medicine and putting Band-Aids on it. And I'm not downplaying that. I'm just saying that's how I chose to deal with it until I decided I needed to get real with life. And I wanted to live a fulfilled life. I did not want to live one in scarcity and anxiety and full of fear all the time. And that is something that I have had to work on, and I still work on it today. Even as I'm recording this today, my morning was chaotic. We had some health issues going on with one of my daughters. It has been a very chaotic day, but because of what I have learned, being able to pull myself back together and really walk the walk, so to speak, so that I can be my very best for you and help all of you learn how to bring yourself back into that sense of peace for yourself. One of the things that I did today was walk away from my work for a while. And I left and went downtown, ran some errands, really got out of my routine, got out of my head, and found a way to come back to that sense of peace so that I could do what I needed to do today. So, there's ways around this. There's ways to learn to work with it, but we have to be open to see ourselves in a different light. We have to be open to not judge ourselves for where we've been. It's just a way that you have learned to cope. And just the way that you learn to cope that way, you can learn to cope in different ways. But it does take time, and it's a daily practice of really tapping into ourselves, asking ourselves every day, what do you need? What's going on? Where did that anxiety come from? And not letting it get out of hand. When we let things, just like with anything else, if you let medical conditions go, it's harder to get them back on the rails again. So if we can start seeing it earlier, start understanding it earlier, start asking good questions. What's going on? If you've been listening to me for a while, there's times when I say, all right, Gina, what's up? What's going on? Why the anxiety? What are you upset about? What's going on? And if we can start learning to ask good questions and really getting real with ourselves, not in a judgment way, in a loving way, so that we can learn to understand ourselves on a deeper level. This is where healing begins. This is where healing starts. So I would encourage you to try some of these things. And of course, if you need help, you can reach out to me. I've worked with many people in anxiety. I've dealt with it too inside myself. So I'm not just talking out of the side of my mouth, telling you how to do things. This is the way that I have really learned how to deal with my life. And, I know at first it took me a long time to get away from, and not even get away from, but I didn't want to take medicine anymore for it. I wanted to really learn a different way of being and not have to rely on that. And I have done that now. But it's through learning different methods, learning meditation, doing my healing work, and really tapping into myself, asking myself what I need, and calming that energetic system down, calming that nervous system down, so that you can find your peace. When we're in this state of anxiety, we're missing everything that's right in front of us, and we're worrying about everything that's going to happen. That is not where we find our peace. You will never find your peace there. And it's not even that you've done anything wrong. It's just time to learn a new way of showing up in the world. So I would encourage you to try some of these things, see what happens. Let me know. I would love to hear from you. So please reach out to me anytime. I'd love to chat with you. And like I said, if you want to do some healing sessions, you can go to ginastrole.com and you can find all of my stuff there. Also, I have some other avenues if you're not ready to do those kind of sessions. I have my healing membership. It has a membership vault that is full of meditations for you, and there are lots in there for anxiety and ways to calm your system down. So if you want to join that too, you can also find that on my website underneath the healing vault, and or on any of my work with me pages, you'll find it all there. So thank you for listening today. I'm so glad that you're here. And